Draft season is officially underway. I'm hoping you did your mock drafts to help prepare you for your real drafts. And in today's video, I'm going to give you my 6 most commonly drafted players within my 7 competitive leagues that I've currently drafted in. This is going to be a good one, guys, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Jacob Markstrom continues to find himself on my roster. He is just way too undervalued right now for the upside for him this season. He's currently going to ADP 130. I've been grabbing him around 90 to 110, which is about where he's been going in most competitive leagues. I just feel like he's way too undervalued right now for the volume you're going to get out of him. He's a proven workhorse in the NHL, the 4th most starts over the last 3 seasons, and we know what happened last year. A sub 900 save percentage, a 3+ goals against average, just not a good year for Jacob Markstrom, who just 2 years ago came off one of the best seasons of his career. And last year, everybody was taking him in the 2nd, 3rd round as goalie 3-4 off the board. I just don't think the down season last year justifies the massive drop this year, where he's going as goaltender 10 to 15 in most drafts. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, Dustin Wolf, 1st round pick. He's been very good in the minors, but he just needs to marinate a little bit in the NHL before he takes over this starting gig. I can't see him taking over the net from Jacob Markstrom, who has done it for his entire career. Now, I know last year I was all over Stuart Skinner, rookie goaltender, coming in to take Jack Campbell's spot. The difference being is that Jack Campbell has never started more than 50 games in his career. Jacob Markstrom has started the 4th most starts in the last 3 seasons. So they know what they got out of Markstrom. They signed him to a long-term deal. He's a very elite goaltender. And this Calgary Flames team was a lot better last year than it looked on paper. They had the 2nd best Corsi for percentage, which is a stat that I like to use because it determines how many shots for they had compared to shots against. And at the 2nd best in the league, they were just extremely strong offensively and even better defensively. Right now, I own Markstrom in 5 of my 7 leagues. He is my goaltender 1. I love him. He's probably my favorite goalie. There is another goalie in this video that I'm going to talk about, but Jacob Markstrom at this ADP, I just can't get by taking anybody else right now, especially those early goalies that are falling, pick 20 to 50. I just think at ADP 130, you get so much value out of a guy that could be a top 5 to 7 starter this season. This is a little bit of an odd pick, and I was really questioning why I had him in so many of my teams, but Michael Matheson has appeared in 4 of my 7 teams so far this season. And I think the reason why is just because defensemen are going super early, and if you don't really have the right pick selection, you're almost in the mid part of your draft, not really able to take a defenseman you like without reaching a ton. And that's what we've seen early on in these drafts, is that defensemen are being reached on a lot, but Michael Matheson still continues to be forgotten. And by pick 130 plus, you're getting a defenseman who is still pair 1, power play 1, that's going to play 25+ minutes. He's currently drafted in just 15% of leagues, and I feel like I'm about 5% of that right now. It's just late round value, round 12 plus, where you can just solidify yourself a defenseman 4 or even a depth defenseman to put on your bench with great upside this season. We saw how good he was when he came back from injury last season, 24 points in the final 30 games for Montreal. And he also had the 8th highest average time on ice amongst all defensemen. He has really no competition. I know Caden Gooley's there, but he's more of a defensive-minded defenseman, where Matheson is just purely offense. And he's going to be playing power play 1. He's going to be playing line 1. There's just little competition, and I'm finding myself drafting him so many times in my team. I like Matheson this season. I'm very curious to what everyone else thinks about him, but the Yahoo projections are just complete joke. At 10 goals, 28 assists, they project him for like 100 shots. And when you go look in drafts, his rank is way below many other defensemen. I like Matheson a lot this season. We actually project him to be very good this year, just given his underlying shot volume over the last couple seasons. I like Matheson a lot. As you can tell, I'm all over him, and I'm backing my claims that he is a must-own defenseman this season. Philipp Grubauer is another goaltender that just keeps appearing on my teams, and I think it's because he's falling so far in drafts right now. It was crazy to me. I went and looked on Yahoo, and he was only drafted in 42% of the leagues. Like a guy that's a number 1 on a Seattle team who had the 6th most wins in 2022, it just doesn't make too much sense to me. It's his net in Seattle. I can't see anyone taking his spot right now. They traded Jones to Toronto, who started the other 50% of games. And now Chris Drieger's the backup, who I really think is just no competition for Grubauer. a former Vezina candidate. I know he was on a very, very strong Colorado team, which pretty much made any goalie a Vezina candidate, but putting up numbers like he did, you just can't really forget about that. He's a very easy choice for your goalie too. He's going 170 plus in drafts right now. I've taken him in the 16th round in some of my leagues, and I've also taken him in the 18th round in some of my leagues. I just think you can't really go wrong with a guy who's going to get this much volume that late in drafts on a team that had the sixth most wins last season and lost in the second round. And during that playoff run, they played against Colorado. He was the starting goalie for the entire playoff run. So they trust him. They want him to be their number one. And I think for a number one goalie going this late in drafts, you just can't really go wrong. You can easily project him for 60 plus starts this season, given the lack of competition on the Seattle Kraken team. I'm going to be taking a goalie on a team with potentially 35 to 40 wins, and hopefully he'll be a net for most of those and end up as a league winner this season. For some odd reason, Vincent Trocheck is getting completely disrespected this season, and it may be a thing that just because there's so much center depth, that a lot of these centers are just being forgotten about or pushed way down the draft. But it's crazy to me that I'm in the 14th, 15th round and I still see Vinny Trocheck available, and I'm scooping him up in all my teams. Last season, he was arguably one of the best peripheral coverage forwards. 82 games played, 22 goals, 64 points, 17 power play points, 225 shots. For those in faceoff wins leagues, 721 faceoff wins, almost a 59% faceoff win percentage, and 182 hits. He covered every single category last year, and nothing really should change this season. He averaged 19 minutes time on ice last season, line 2, power play 1. There's no reason for him to not be there this year. They currently project him on line 2, and I just saw a tweet that Chris sent to me that he is projected still to be on that power play 1 on the Rangers, who we know have a very, very strong power play. He's currently falling to about around 14 and 15, but he always finishes as a top 75 to 100 player in some of those hits leagues. He could even finish as high as 50. Now, the thing to note about Trocheck as well is that he's only missed one game in the last 2 seasons. And I know earlier in his career, he had some injury problems, but over the last 2 seasons, he's missed just one game. A super safe forward. He's going to get you an extremely high floor with his shot volume and hit volume. Definitely a guy you want to be rostering. I haven't talked about him too much this year, but last year we were all over him. And as draft season hit, especially in those competitive leagues, I've kind of changed my strategy more to drafting elite wingers and defensemen early, and then filling my centers up with guys like Joel Eriksson-Ek, Vinny Trocheck, Sam Bennett, who will just cover all the categories for me, while those elite wingers and defensemen will do all the point covering for me. I really like Trocheck this season. He's in 5 of my 7 leagues right now. I continue to draft him. I got him in the 15th round in the Fantasy Puck Patreon League. I thought that was an absolute steal. Definitely someone you want to keep your eye on if you can trade for him. I still think his value is extremely low right now. For those drafting in the next couple days, definitely a guy you want to be looking for to add to your roster. Charlie McAvoy may be a surprise for this list. I haven't talked about him in many videos. If you watch on the live streams, I've been drafting him, but I haven't really talked about him a whole lot. And the reason why he's on this list and why I've been taking him so much is because defensemen are being taken extremely early in drafts right now, and McAvoy seems like the odd man out right now in that middle part of the rounds. Now, I think he's a really solid defenseman number 2, which has been extremely hard to find. And in the Creators League, which happened on the weekend with all the fantasy hockey creators, there was 13 defensemen taken by round 4, and McAvoy was the last one, round 4, pick 11. And I think he just has the same upside as a lot of the defensemen around him. His pace last season, 64 points, 130 shots, 160 blocks, and 102 hits. But that was coming off an injured season where he missed the first little bit of the year because he had surgery and he wasn't fully healthy. He played the lowest minutes in the last 5 years of his career. Now I'm hoping this year he comes back and he shows us what we saw in playoffs. 25 plus minutes, very good peripherals, huge point upside. A lot of people are selling short on the Bruins right now. I think the Bruins are still going to be extremely competitive. McAvoy is actually one of the defensemen that is not going at his ADP. You're seeing John Carlson, you're seeing Evan Bouchard, Miro Heiskanen. These guys are going top 50, top 40 in a lot of drafts, and McAvoy seems to slide past and go 60, 70. I think he's an extremely solid defenseman 2 option on a really good Bruins team that still features a ton of talent like Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak. You can't really go wrong with them. I've been just finding myself taking 3 forwards, 1 defenseman, and then I go and look and I see guys like Seth Jones, Noah Dobson, and Charlie McAvoy. So McAvoy's been the guy I've just been grabbing for my teams. I like the peripheral upside. I like the opportunity with a really good Bruins team, a really good Bruins power play. I like McAvoy this season. I've taken him in 4 of my 7 leagues. He's just 26 years old, and I know a lot of analysts are really high on him for a Norris Trophy in the next couple of years, and I'm hoping that I'm able to draft him for his Norris Trophy season. I had to save the best for last. Andrei Svechnikov, just a guy that I am all over this season. I think he has the best opportunity to be a league winner this year. Currently ADP 82. In most competitive leagues, he's going 50 to 70. It really depends on the categories, but leagues with hits, which I feel like a lot of people are now in, he's just been going around round 5, round 6. I've been able to grab him around round 5. It just really depends on the draft order because he's going very early in round 5, but his value is just way too good right now. I think he can easily finish as a top 30 player this season and easily finish as a league winner this year. He's in 4 of my 7 leagues. I just grabbed him last night in 2 of my leagues. I just like the upside we have with him. His shot volume is amongst the top of the league, but he also mixes in a 7 hits per 60, which he is 1 of 5 players that has 11 plus shots per 60 and 7 plus hits per 60. A guy that just has an extremely high floor on a Carolina Hurricanes team who I think everyone can agree has not only the best decor, but easily a top 5 finishing team this season. And you want to be taking players that are on winning teams because they're going to be in the offensive zone more, they're going to be scoring more goals, and they're not going to be losing many games. I'm backing up my claims. I'm taking him in a lot of my drafts right now, but in a lot of the competitive leagues, people are on him. He's going a lot earlier than he should, but still, he can easily finish the season as a top 30 player. This is the year. I hope he ends up being a league winner, and let me know in the comment section below if you've drafted him and what you think his outlook is for this season. That will do it for the 6 players I have drafted the most this season. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.